that part of the consent?
No, I mean, the document, I guess.
If you would stand for the pledge.
So we have a question about the docket line.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Harris will lead us in invocation.
Let's pray, please. Dear Lord, we come now to thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. We thank you, Lord, for the city of Hernando, for the quality of life that you allow us to enjoy here. We're thankful, Lord, for all of those who call Hernando their home. We are thankful, Lord, for our military, our police, our fire and first responders around the world, and just pray, Lord, that you'll protect them and keep them safe from harm in all of the work that they do for us. We're thankful, Lord, for this time here tonight, and just pray that you lead us in all the decisions that we make. We're especially thankful, Lord, for Mayor Ferguson, for his dedication and commitment to us for the last 4 years. We also thank you, Lord, for Alderman Higdon, Brooks, Hobbs, and McClendon for the time that they've devoted their time and attention to the city of Hernando. We give you thanks for them all. Forgive us our sins, Lord. We pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Item 4, approve the agenda.
Don't you have a question?
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 5, approve the docket of claims.
Mr. Mayor, before we do that, I do have, well, I had a question, but I think you just answered it. These things aren't page numbered, so bear with me. It's on the Culture and Recreation. It's 42,882. It's the docket number. And it said Park Pavilion use of pavilion refund, and it was $2,940.
Yes, I got with Miss Amy Claire, and they pulled the receipts, the invoices. The lady had leased the whole park, all the pavilions, because of COVID. She used it the previous year, and they found out they were able to use the Performing Arts Center to high school this year, is why she's asking for a refund. So they were able to hold it inside.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I just never seen a deposit of that much.
Absolutely. Any more questions?
Yes, Mayor, I have a question on the first page. The 2 payments that we made for attorney fees for the Olive Branch annexation,
Yes, sir.
what was our total cost for attorneys on that annexation?
Ooh, I just looked at it. I can go print it out, but 190, 30, what was the other one, Kenny? I'd say about 250,000.
Which is about what it was estimated to be.
Well, I noticed we make payments almost monthly. Where do we stand on that? How much
These are the
money?
last 2.
These are the last 2,
This is the last 2.
paid in full. Okay,
And they did not see that.
thank you.
Any more questions? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 6, approve the minutes from the regular mayor and board alderman meeting on June 1st, 2020.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Alderman Miller. Alderman Higdon.
Aye.
Alderman McClendon.
Abstain.
Alderwoman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Hobbs. Alderman Harris.
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch.
Aye.
Motion granted.
All right, which one are they?
Item 8, request for DeSoto Shriners for funding for barbecue contest.
We didn't do the consent agenda, did we?
Number 7.
Please state your name.
Hey, Mayor,
I may have
Jason
skipped
Francis.
7.
Mayor,
Mayor, you skipped number 7.
just stay there.
Love it.
Number 7.
Oh, that's a big one. Item number 7, the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. All right, now, number 8, request from Soda Shriners for funding for the barbecue contest.
Yes, I'm Jason Francis with the DeSoto Shrine Club in the city limits of Hernando here. We're having our annual barbecue contest again. It's our 13th year to have it. We got 50 barbecue teams coming in from all over the southeast. The furthest one's coming from Orlando, Florida. We got teams from out of Missouri. They're all coming in here. We also have the #1 team in the country. This is KCBS, Kansas City Barbecue Society contest. The #1 team in the country has decided to come here this weekend instead of going to any other contest in the nation. So, anyway, usually in the past, the city of Hernando has used the tourism funds and donated, I believe it's $300 to our event to help us with the cost. This is a fundraiser for us for maintenance of the grounds and buildings there on the campus.
Thank you. Any questions?
How much is it?
He's requested 300.
I think it's been 300.
I think it was 250. I'm not positive on that.
I can't read it wrong.
I don't have anything to be able to look at it.
Could we amend the motion to be the same as last year?
Yes, sir.
We ain't made a motion yet,
Oh, I thought we did, sorry.
but we need to make it, it's a sponsor.
You need to
Put the amount in there?
whatever it is.
Well, we're not sure, it's either 250 or 300.
I guess you make it, we'll
Well,
have
it's
to decide
$50.
on
You
it.
could make it as a maximum.
Okay. Can I make a motion?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to sponsor the DeSoto Shriners for their barbecue contest, not to exceed $300.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, request from MEMA to use the Gale Center on July 12th from 11 to 6 p.m. to host a meeting for the elected officials from DeSoto, Marshall, Tate, Union, Quitman counties, municipalities for a no rental or cleaning charge. Do we have a motion?
And there's no conflicts, there's nothing else at the Gale Center? I don't know where to do anything.
Well, it would trump it if it
Okay.
were to come up.
Okay.
Who's doing the cleaning?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 10, authorize hire Gabe Claus as a certified firefighter EMT open position.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 11, authorize to hire Jason Alexander as uncertified firefighter.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. They going too fast.
Thank you for your service.
Item 12, authorized to pay increase of 65 cents per hour for Annette Salter in Public Works Department for a 90-day performance evaluation. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 13, authorized to pay increase 50 cents per hour for Willie Smith, Public Works Department, at the end of his 90-day probation. We have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 14, authorized pay increase 50 cents per hour for Freddie Vick in the Public Works Department toward his transition to billing accountable supervisor.
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 15, authorize a pay increase 50 cents per hour, Brandon Gordon, Public Works Department, at the end of his 90-day new hire probation. We have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 16, authorize a pay increase $1 per hour for Roger Miller in Public Works Department for his transition to sanitation supervisor.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 17, authorize hire Susan Waldrop, deputy court clerk, at a pay of $13.50 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 18, authorized to give Sharmonica Wilson, a deputy court clerk, a performance raise of 50 cents per hour.
Motion approved.
Item number 19, approved.
Need a second.
Second.
Oh, second.
Mike did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 19, approve change order number 1 for the Hernando EWP project. We have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Alderman McClendon.
Aye.
Alderwoman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Hobbs. Alderman Harris.
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch. Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Higdon.
Aye.
Motion granted. All righty, BJ. Number 20, request to rezone 1.3 acre tract of land located in northwest corner of Gwynn Road and Nesbit Road.
All right. Can anybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Basically, as the mayor pointed out, this is a rezoning request to rezone a piece of property on the corner of Gwynn Road and Nesbit Road from the AR Agricultural Residential District to the R20 Residential Single-Family District Low Density. Essentially, the people that own the property would like to divide it. It has an existing house on the property, and they're looking to divide it roughly in half. And the property itself is less than 2 acres in size. So since the minimum lot size in AR is 1.5 acres, they can't really do that and meet the minimum lot size for AR. So they're requesting to rezone this to the R20 district. Basically, the future land use map for the city's currently adopted general development plan identifies this area as rural residential. The zoning classification recommended for the general development plan for properties identified in the rural residential land use designation is the A agricultural or AR agricultural residential district. Therefore, the applicant's request to rezone the property to R20 single family district would not conform to the recommendations of the general development. Now, as you know, there are 3 criteria that you're supposed to look at in terms of approving or denying a rezoning request. I have given you the applicant's responses to the 3 criteria as well as the staff comments. I would like to note that, of course, this is a straight rezoning. It's not a planned district, so we're not going to be involved in any kind of subdivision approval relative to this property at this time. If you were to approve it to R20 and they were to go forward with subdividing the property, that would of course come back to you when that would occur. I have given you copies of the zoning district regulations for both the AR district as well as the R20 district. I always state whenever I have a rezoning situation come up that although we do tend to want to know, why are they rezoning, what are they going to use it for, etc., we can't really focus totally on that question. You have to be satisfied that you're comfortable with everything that's permitted in that new district. Not really that big an issue so much in residential, since residential districts tend to copy themselves as far as the permitted use list goes. It's more a question of lot size and things of that nature. But when you get into issues of commercial districts, the permitted use list is very large. The Planning Commission reviewed this request for rezoning at their meeting on May 11th, 2021. Following a public hearing and discussion by the Commission voted to recommend approval to the Board of Aldermen of the rezoning request to the R20 Residential Family District on a vote of 6 commissioners in favor of the rezoning: Ashworth, Carter, Jordan, Hawkins, Skeen, and Wickett, based upon the findings included under the motion to approve in your staff report and their personal knowledge of the area. 2 commissioners voted against the rezoning request, Cotton and German. I have given you in your staff report a proposed motion to approve the zoning as well as a proposed motion to deny the rezoning request with suitable findings attached to each. Of course, you have the option to table your request if you feel like you need additional time to consider it, or that there is additional information you would need that is not available this evening. So with that, that's my report, unless anyone has any questions.
Any questions from the board?
The properties across the street, what are these zoned?
We have some properties across the street that are in the AR district, but are smaller, than the minimum lot size required. They're, old lots. All of these properties got through there are rental.
Like the American Legion, what's it zoned? Do you know?
I don't have a copy of the zoning map.
It's across the street, Mike.
Yeah, but what is it zoned?
It's on the west side of Glen Road.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have a copy of the zoning map with me.
Or Old Town Nesbit, those buildings that are there? Do we know what those are zoned?
Oh, those are all commercial or office.
Does the church property butt up to this? Is that the Presbyterian church?
Yes, on the north side. The church itself, I think, is actually across the street. I think.
It's right beside.
It's right beside it.
Because I think it is right beside.
Yeah, it's on the north side of it.
I'm not as familiar with that area as I probably should be. Yes, I must be thinking of the club that was mentioned earlier as being across the street. The church is to the north. If you look at the larger aerial photograph, you can see the existing house. It's kind of on the north end of the property.
The family that wants to rezone it, are they here now? Do they live in that house, or they just own the property? Do you know?
I
Is that a
believe
question I can ask?
Sandra's here. Ms. Walker is.
we have the applicant's consultant here.
So the R20 basically will go east and west, make it is that, the line will go through the property, will go,
No, that's the whole property. Now, the subdivision, if they come back with the subdivision, that line.
okay.
But the zoning,
Right.
Any more questions from the board? Audience, have any questions? Any questions for Mr. Ben Smith?
Mayor and Board, Ben Smith, 2700 Stonebrook, Nesbit. Let me show you what's going on first before I do this presentation. Up is north. This is in pink is the piece of property that we're talking about. There's a house on the north, kind of the north line. The Presbyterian Church is here, adjacent to it. Here, across the street here is the VFW, and it's zoned AR.
Okay.
All this whole area was zoned AR.
Change that.
And AR means you have to have an acre and a half of land, minimum for an AR. You recently, and that's one of the changes in the neighborhood, when I get to changes neighborhood, you just recently approved this piece that's in gold color or yellow color to subdivide it into 4 lots. And there's 3 houses under construction now. The north 3 lots have homes there that's under construction. My reason for asking rezoning is supposed to be either a mistake or a change, and my argument is both. That there was a mistake made, and of course there's been changes in the neighborhood. In the 90s, the DeSoto County, in their comprehensive plan, rezoned this whole area AR, which meant that unless you had an acre and a half of land, you could not pull a building permit. If you had less than an acre and a half of land, then you lived on a lot that's non-conforming. This lot we're up here tonight is non-conforming because it does not meet the acre and a half minimum. The VFW does not meet the acre and a half minimum. Some of these other lots that I've got shown here, all these in black do not meet the acre and a half minimum. They're non-conforming. What that means is it's in your regulations, in your zoning ordinance, subdivision ordinance is, since it's non-conforming, if a house were to burn down, you could not build it back. If a tornado came through and did damage to your house, and it's estimated that the damage is over 50% the value of that house, you cannot remodel that house or build it back. So these people that are living out in this area that has lots under acre and a half are living on non-conforming lots. That was the mistake that was made, and there was a reason for it because there was no sewer available in that area, so they want to make sure if anybody came in and subdivided a large tract of land, you had to have an acre and a half for a sewer, for your own private sewer system. The other change that's occurred out there is now there's sewer out there. The city of Hernando has run their sewer lines out there, which means you can have less than an acre and a half of land and be on the city sewer. When the city of Hernando did their comprehensive plan, you have numerous lots, especially in the old part of town, that are R20 and R30. And your comprehensive plan recognized that and zoned those lots R20 and R30 because they have sewer. So there was a mistake made, in my opinion, by the county, and when you annexed this area, you accepted it just like it existed. Also, there's been changes. You recently rezoned this. Also, the sewer has come in, and I think the big subdivision down the street is Willingham, I think. It's got lots in there that are R10 and R12. And the reason being, you've got central sewer and you've got central water. This lot here is 58,000 square feet in size that we want to eventually maybe subdivide. You're asking why R20 run out of R30? Well, it'd be if it was 60,000 square feet, we'd be asking for R30 to get 2 R30 lots. It's only 58. So if there were to be subdivided, you'd probably end up with 2 lots, 25,000 square feet in size. But there's been a change. The big change is central sewer. They're run by the city to this area, and annexed area. That you do when you annex the area, you try to provide central sewer. So now you can have lots out there with less than 1.5 acres. So you have an opportunity tonight, if this house were to burn down, I don't know what the procedure would be, but they could not pull a building permit because it's a non-conforming. Maybe they'd go back to the court, maybe they'd come to you again, petition the city, but here's an opportunity to make this a conforming lot. And the people that's buying this will not have to worry about in the future if it burns down, they will not be able to get a building permit to build back. I think you're going to see more of this in that area, these small lots coming back now that they have central sewer. This lot here on the corner, that house is now gone, but it's not been able to get a building permit to put a house back on it. Although there's sewer there, you cannot get a building permit because it's less than 1.5 acres. So my argument is that a mistake was made, and also there's been tremendous change in that area of the sewer available there. I think there's already 3 permits pulled for these lots, and I think that's indication there's a need for housing in that area. I'll ask you, of course, you may have the vote of 6-2 by your planning commission to recommend approval. So we're asking you to follow the recommendation of the planning commission and approve this rezone.
With all due respect, that's the American Legion, not the VFW.
Oh, is it?
I don't want everybody to get confused.
Okay, all right.
Could you point
It's
out,
the old First Baptist nest.
could you point out where the sewer line is?
The sewer line, with these 3 lots, the sewer line come at the back of these lots and come over to here.
On the lot that you're talking about?
On my lot, Sandra, you know where the sewer is? This is Sandra Lanphere, she's the owner. I don't know where the sewer
There's
is.
the back of the property.
I don't know where the sewer is.
Oh, you made the comment you had sewer.
It's available.
That's why I didn't know.
Well, I should have said it's available. You may have to extend the line, but there's sewer out there.
And the city would extend the line, or the person that's rezoning or
She would, whoever, if someone still burning permit, whoever would have to extend the sewer line.
So they'd have to run sewer from where our sewer's located to
That's
that.
correct. The city's not obligated anyway to run sewer for someone dividing their lot. Usually that's a cost that the developer pays.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the audience? The board? Do we have a motion?
Well, I have a question about the old town of Nesbit that's there across the street. Would this, Kenny, would this rezoning affect anything that's there if they try to, that's trying to make a comeback? They're trying to, would this hurt that in any way by us rezoning this to R20?
I couldn't imagine that it would, those old town lots, I would imagine being like an insurance better, I would imagine they're a lot smaller than those lots.
Say, are there any restrictions for a business being too close to that residential area, I guess?
Not particularly, you know, there could be some issues relative to setbacks,
Right.
but in terms of our commercial zones, most of them don't have a minimum lot size, and many of them don't have side yard setbacks. You know, for example, C2 highway commercial, you can literally build, you know, property line to property line on the sides.
Right.
You know, it does have a front and rear yard setback. So, you know, basically, the act of zoning this particular property residential shouldn't have any impact. Plus, I believe, let me just check something real quick so I don't tell you a lie. Yes, the property is separated from the commercial by Nesbit Road.
On Nesbit Road, yes.
So I'm not even sure that the setback issue I mentioned before would come into play, because that's
Okay.
typically where you border directly
I was
on residential.
just trying to make an
property.
informative
So-
decision. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Audience? Do we have a motion?
Have a motion to approve.
You want to reference this?
Do I need to read that?
You want to ask if there's any opposition? I think you did, Diane.
Oh, well, is there any opposition to this?
Thank you.
I think you covered it, just to be sure.
We've got a motion, BJ has got a motion to approve on page 3. Can we just reference that page, or we have to read the whole thing?
Better if it's read.
I think you can read the motion and then just say subject to.
Did somebody second it?
Right. Nope.
Where is it?
I have a quick question. They keep referencing Susan Wampler, is that correct?
Excuse me?
I said they keep referencing Susan Wampler, and I asked if that was correct. Her name is Sandra Wampler, just for the record.
Okay.
I'll go back and check the application. It's right there as well.
I just wanted to be, log it, it needs to be that name.
Read the motion.
Ready for a motion?
I'm sorry.
A motion to approve the request to rezone parcel number 208-726-010-00030.00, the Susan Wampler property, which is a 1.30 acre tract located on the northeast corner of Gwynn Road and Nesbit Road in section 25 and 26, Township 2, South Range 8, west from the AR Agricultural Residential District to the R20 Residential Single Family District, low density, based upon the following findings. And they're listed here.
1 through 3.
And we're gonna check on the name, get it correct.
Well, I think it is Sandra. If you just amend your motion to say Sandra. instead of
Amend my motion for it to be signed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Brooks.
Aye.
Alderman Hobbs. Alderman Harris.
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch.
Aye.
Alderman Miller. Alderman Hickman.
Aye.
Alderman McClendon.
Motion granted. Item 21, request rezone 1 acre portion of a 4 acre tract of land located south side of Bahia Road, east side of Mackinvale Road, west side of Jennifer Road.
All right. This rezoning, this is the North Mississippi Utilities Building out on Bahia Road. Mr. Lovell is LLC, Mississippi Gulfport, has purchased that property, which is a 4 acre piece of property. It has the office building on there, and then in the back, there's a shop in the back. Now, this rezoning, the total property is 4 acres. This rezoning is only for the northernmost 1 acre of the property. Okay? And although we typically see zoning district boundaries follow property lines, they're not required to follow property lines. So the rezoning can cut through the property as proposed by Mr. Lovell. Basically, the property is currently zoned A, agricultural, And he wishes to rezone it to O office. Basically, what's happened here is in the zoning ordinance, public service facility is listed as a permitted use in every zoning district, whether it's residential or commercial or industrial. And, you know, basically that's intended to facilitate public service facilities, you know, like telephone switching stations, different kind of utility system facilities. Basically, we have also historically included office buildings, you know, maintenance buildings, things of that nature under the public service facility definition. As a result, you know, back when North Mississippi Utilities constructed that building and located on that piece of property, they were considered a permitted use in the A agricultural district because they were a public service facility. Now that they are getting out of the utility business, so to speak, they have sold this property to Mr. Lovell, and as a result, it's no longer a public service facility. As a result, he can't use the building. You know, the only thing that's allowed that he can really use it for is kind of a residential use, which of course the buildings are not designed for that purpose. In addition, Mr. Lovell also has a prospective client looking for office space and has looked at that building. Basically, I think his intention has been to try and get it to a point where he can use it for office use. But he's requesting office district because it is literally the most restrictive commercial district that we have in our zoning ordinance. I've included in the packet for you the list of uses for both the agricultural district and the O office district. And you can see for the O office district, you know, it's very limited types of uses. One thing I will mention, because it always seems to come up sometimes when we discuss commercial zonings, the O office district does not allow for convenience stores. You know, so I know that was a big question that some of the neighbors had. This particular O office district does not allow for that kind of use. As I mentioned earlier, the three criteria, you have the applicant's responses to those three criteria as well as the staff's responses. Again, you know, any future division of the property would occur separately from this. This is just a rezoning, nothing else. Again, in evaluating the application, you should always feel like you're comfortable with everything that's listed as permissible in the O office, because once it's zoned, you know, if for some reason Mr. Lovell decides to sell the property at a later date or has some other use that wants to come in, as long as it's permissible under O office, any of those uses could go there. So you want to be comfortable with all of them. The Planning Commission reviewed this request for a rezoning at their meeting on May 11th, 2021. Following a public hearing and discussion by the Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval to the Board of Aldermen of the rezoning request to the O office district based upon the findings that I've included under the proposed motion to approve. One of the things I think they gave a certain amount of credence to was the fact that just north of this property is the Madison Lakes development, and there is some relatively substantial commercial portion of that development that's not directly across Black Dahlia Road, but just a little ways down from this location as well. Also, I've given you a proposed motion to deny with suitable findings. And of course, you always have the opportunity to table this if you feel you have need additional time to consider it, or if there's additional information you need to have presented. So with that, that's my report, unless anyone has any questions. I would note that we didn't have anyone in opposition at the Planning Commission public hearing.
How far is the property from the church?
I'm not sure. Mr. Lovell's here. Probably.
That across the road almost.
I think if I'm not wrong, I have included in your staff report a copy of the Madison Lakes plan.
I think it's across the street.
Yeah, it's just across the road.
Yeah.
When we rezone something, can we strike conditional uses, Kenny?
But I mean, those have to come back to you for approval anyway. They're part of the zoning.
Yeah. If this were a planned district of some kind, that we would be able to create the use list. But since this is standard,
So retail sales can go in this.
yes, but there is I think a limitation on the size.
Let's say cannabis.
Yeah, I think so. And that's retail sales. I mean, that could go into pretty much any commercial zone that we have.
But that would have to go before the planning commission to get that approved. And it couldn't be within 500 feet of a church, I believe.
That, I don't know, but, if that's a state requirement, I don't know.
Well, it's not yet, but
I don't believe it's a city requirement.
can't sell alcoholic beverages, correct?
Yeah,
Within
the
500.
store would be different. Yeah. I know those. I think it's actually 400 feet for
Any more questions from the board? Questions from the audience? Any opposition? We have a motion?
Make a motion to approve,
Second.
Ooh, you want to prove it by the...
and I'll read the motion. I make a motion to approve the rezoning of parcel number 30730800001.01, the Mississippi Goat LLC property, which is a 1.0 acre portion of a 4.0 acre tract located on the south side of Bahia Road, east of Mackinvale Road and west of Jaybird Road, in Section 8, Township 3 South, Range 7 West, from the A Agricultural District to the 0 Office District, based upon the following findings, and make the findings as listed in item 1, 2, and 3 as part of the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Alderman Hobbs. Alderman Harris.
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Higdon.
Aye.
Alderman McClendon.
Aye.
Alderwoman Brooks.
Aye.
Motion granted. 22, request for approval of Scribbles L concerning lot 24 Crossroads subdivision.
Somebody asked me what a Scrivener was, and I honestly don't know. I assume it's one of those ancient terms that has to basically do with the draftsman.
A scribble.
You look it up.
No, I didn't.
Anyway, basically, this has to do with Lot 24 of the first phase of Crossroads subdivision. They're getting ready to, build on this lot, and as part of that process, it came to light that there's an error in a couple of, there's an error in a dimension, and there's an error in a bearing. Basically, the bearing is on the east side property line, and it ends with an east, and it should end with a west. Additionally, on the front or north property line, it lists the dimension as 88.98 feet, but should read 92.32 feet. Now, I worked with the applicant on this. The drawing of the plat is correct. And this change does not have any effect on any additional lots, like down the street or behind it or anything like that. It's strictly restricted to this lot. The subdivision regulations state that errors on recorded subdivision plats may be corrected by the subdivider by making a written request to the mayor and board of aldermen to have such correction made. The mayor and the board of aldermen may direct that the correction be made directly on the existing recorded plat, or they may direct that a complete new plat be filed. The staff recommendation is that you authorize the correction to be made directly on the plat. Because I said before, these errors don't affect the drawing. It's basically just erasing the letter E and replacing it with a W, and then changing that one dimension, which basically the Chancery Court Clerk's Office will allow us to do. We just will have to provide the applicant's engineer with a certified copy of the order stating that this be done, which I'm sure they'll put in their records somewhere as they let him go forward with that. This is one of those things that maybe comes up once a year, if that. It's not something that happens very often, but there is a specific process for addressing it. So with that, that's my report, unless anyone has any questions.
Pretty simple mistake. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. I guess.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 23, request for amendment of Madison Lakes PUD. They would like this tabled indefinitely.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 24, authorized to apply for a trauma care trust fund distribution, authorized the mayor to sign. This is something we normally do each year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Authorized to accept the lowest and best quote from Don Acox to paint, repair exterior of fire station number 3, and it's budgeted for.
Motion approved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 26, authorized to accept the lowest best quote for meter servicing and supply company to purchase of 2 new 8-inch altitude valves. Total cost $15,070. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Authorize accept lowest and best quote from Cleveland Construction Company to install installation of 2 8-inch altitude valves at cost of $6,400. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 28, protest of the AWG infrastructure improvement deal. Would you speak upon this, and where's Mr. Foster? That we never got a legally,
Yes, could you call out if there's anyone here from Water Tech Corporation?
what's the name of it again?
Water Tech Corporation?
Is anyone here from Water Tech Corporation?
Mayor, if we could put in the minutes that Water Tech Corporation notified the city in a unorthodox manner, I would say, by email, this protest, and the city responded in kind and noticed Ms. Babcock directly for this day to be present. And obviously she's not, or nobody from the company is here.
Do we want to discuss what happened, or just make a motion on no one's here to protest it?
I mean, if you want to discuss it, I'm sure Mr. Foster can certainly do that.
I can just make it short and simple.
I mean, no one's here, so.
I mean, just because they're not here, we specified for 2 moisture sensors, and their product only had 1 sensor moisture probe, and we needed redundancy. And this isn't the normal way, like you said, you file a protest.
And I would say that there was some email correspondence between Pickering and the representative of Water Tech. That was all explained, I think, very well.
I've got our response letter. if you'd like.
They got it in front of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was a letter, if we could make a copy of the letter.
Make a copy of the latter part in the minutes. Do we have a motion to move on?
Well,
Or do we have any more questions?
exactly what does this do?
That is for the lift station pump, the AWG project. That was the actual pump spec that they didn't meet.
To pump water or sewer?
Sewer. Now, this is the sewer extension for AWG.
So where does it stand right now? They're gonna make the change, put in there what they should have put in
No,
to start
they
with?
said they could not, so we did not allow their pump to be used in the bid. So our bids are based on the spec pumps.
And our pump was 2 sensors.
Right.
Yeah.
And they only had a pump with 1 sensor. So they didn't meet our specs that we bid it out.
In our email correspondence, we asked if they could furnish a pump with the 2 moisture probes, and they said no. So we did not allow their pump to be used on the project. All of our bids will be based on pumps that we spec.
Okay.
We'll be getting some metals and make sure all that's in conformance.
Mayor, on the agenda item, if you could just, I think it'd be proper to have a motion to deny the protest and the representative came forward.
Any more questions? Do we have a motion to deny based on facts that no one came and protested? No one was present to protest?
They were notified by email,
Notified by email.
the same manner they notified us.
That did you?
So made.
Did you make it, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
Jeff made the motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 29, authorize to accept the lowest and best bid for AWG infrastructure improvements from Argo Construction. And this is from AWG to the lift station on 51 to the lift station on Mackinvale up there north of Green Tea. going under the interstate to there. 1.327.
Make the motion we accept the lowest bid.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. 30, authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Argo Entertainment LLC to hold an Independence Day production. This will be July 1 at the Civic Center. We've got permission from the Baseball Foundation, Parks Foundation. I think everything's in order by the city attorney.
So moved.
I have a question before we vote on that. I'm a little confused by item 1.2. On the first page, it points out a payment of $12,000 payable by July the 19th. Then it goes on to say, other than the $13,000 sponsorship payment. So is it $12,000 or $13,000?
Well,
Or is it
in my conversations with him, I didn't like this. He said since it was such a late notice, and he only had a week to get sponsors and all that, he was gonna put it at 13,000. And I did not catch the 12,000. I don't know why I didn't. Good catch though, Doc.
So it's 13 and not 12.
Well, if you can make it up, if you make a motion to do it up to 13, I can try to correct him in the morning on that. That there was
No, I
confusion.
didn't have that last agreement. It's 13.
Where did this one come from? Was this not the one we got the other day?
That, there was a, that one was the one that
Oh,
I
yeah,
called you about,
Raymond's
had 13.
Campbell, Audrey, and Raymond. So it's like, that almost looks like it's.
In the,
I'll tell you what, I actually got one signed in my
Oh, it almost
office
looks like
from
it's
him.
25, that
Don't we?
and that.
Yeah, well,
the written number is saying 12, but the 13,000 is in numerical number, so
It
it
almost
was
looks
a,
like it could be 12 plus.
He can,
yeah.
the mayor has spoken with Mr., what's his name, Darrell?
Yeah.
So the number is 13,000.
It is 13.
It is
That's,
13,000.
or it says 12, it's supposed to be 13.
I interrupted your motion, I'm sorry.
But no, it is
If
13,000.
we're good with 13, I just want to clarify it.
Yeah, well, we still need to have the correction.
we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 31, authorized to advertise Hernando West Sewer Project. This project we passed last meeting. For the special assessment, we want to advertise for bids.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 32, approved to raise grant contract. This is Neil Schaefer. Gia has really been working on this. Mr. Bryan. It's the opportunity for a $5 million grant. It's pretty competitive. Right now, it's a cost to us at $29,500. And no possible reimbursement, or it is a possibility, Gia?
Prior to the grant, no.
I mean, me personally, I think it's a good thing. The next board would have to pick it up. If the next board, new mayor and board on approval, by law, they could cancel it the first meeting. Is that true, Kenny? Or do we have to stick to this one?
No, it would be, now, they don't have to approve the project.
I'm in favor of it just because when would be the next opportunity, Gia?
To apply for something like this? Not anytime soon. This is a magnificent opportunity to apply for funding for something like this. We have started a master bike and pedestrian plan that is a 20-year process.
Step up if you're going. Here you go. Oh, you can come over here. I mean, just tell them right quick.
Right there, that's our 20-year master bike and pedestrian plan. And the only way that the city will be able to move forward with the projects that are listed on that plan is to have grant opportunities, because we just don't really have the funds to move forward on our own. This grant is a $5 million grant, which would allow us to move forward with about half of those projects within a 5-year period. It touches projects for bike, pedestrian, the disabled. It would get people from the downtown square to the interstate. It also allows the city to do some types of projects that would beautify the Commerce Street exit from the interstate to the downtown. So I think we just really have a great opportunity. It is a reimbursement program, but you have up to 5 years to finish the project, and it's just one step at a time.
Could you also make mention of Oak Grove and
Yes,
that's going to
thank
be
you.
very unique from the other cities that we might be competing against?
Yes, so Oak Grove area already is pretty much built out. In our comprehensive plan that was finished over, 20 years ago, it states that we will be able to do sidewalks, pedestrian improvements, and all new development. But because there's no new development that can really be created in the Oak Grove area, it is up to the city to find funding to be able to add sidewalks and pedestrian access. And there's a lot of people in that neighborhood who walk from their homes to the Conger Park area and to other places in the city. This grant would allow us to go ahead and move forward with pedestrian access on Oak Grove Road and to the parks and to other areas in the downtown. So it is a very good opportunity. And it was funny because just the other day, I received a message from a constituent in that area asking if there was an opportunity to apply for some sort of funding to add sidewalks in their neighborhood. And we just so happen to be finding funding through the RAISE grant. The thing about the RAISE grant, though, that's different than some of our other transportation projects is not that we are able to receive funding straight directly from our MPO, which we compete locally. This is a national grant. It is highly competitive, and we will be competing against all cities nationwide. But it is a very good opportunity, and I don't think this would be something we would want to pass up.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience?
What all can be used for the grant? What were the criteria?
Well, the criteria changes. This used to be a grant called the Build Grant. And the presidential administration actually changes the focus of the fund, where the funds go. So we have to look at, in this particular grant, even though it's funded through the U.S. Department of Transportation, we have to look for things that will benefit the city as far as alternative transportation, climate change, job creation, education, technology, and we actually meet a lot of those criteria off of Commerce Street and through Oak Grove. We are able now to connect the library. We have had people that have come to our public meetings for our master bike and pedestrian plan that are disabled. We have people on Commerce Street today that ride motorized wheelchairs on Commerce Street because there are no sidewalks. We actually have some paraplegics that have contacted the city asking for additional access for them to utilize sidewalks to get from the downtown to other parts of the city, and they can't do that today. They'd like to access the library. I mean, those are things that we could be able to provide to our citizens, and we're not able to do that today. The library is a place to get tutoring. It's a place for people who don't have computers to access technology. Sacred Heart Southern Missions is across the street from, on Commerce Street, across from Bryant's, and that's where a lot of the social service work is done. They're providing jobs. We help those people with their water bills. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do with these funds that are not just for overlays.
So, in the historic, say just if you went up Elm Street there are no sidewalks in any of the old historic homes.
Yes.
Can this be used as a double, speed is an issue on Elm Street. Can this be used as, say, a lane down Elm Street for walking or biking? It narrows the street up, similar to what they've done up at Memphis on
I
Cleveland
guess
up there.
What you're asking is more of like a traffic calming device, where you would try to...
This is a people moving device that I'm talking about. It just happens to narrow the street up where it would slow the traffic down.
Well, a traffic calming device would do that, and there's different forms of traffic calming devices. And what that means is, in older sections of neighborhoods, usually historic, the roads are much narrower, and they were not set up to have sidewalks at the time. So what they have done in certain neighborhoods, and you'll actually see this around Starkville, is they've added these little, I'm going to call them, I'm probably not using the right terminology, landscaping islands, which makes the car move like this. I know you're not going to probably like that. That's just one example. But it makes the car slow down because they're not driving fast and they're not driving straight. I also have Russ here, if he would like to come up. There's, through our project that we did with our study, there were different roads that were brought up. The public and our elected officials were invited to come and talk about all the hot spots, things that they were very interested in improving. And I know that through Neil Schaefer, you've been able to put together a list of those most important projects that were on the list.
Right. The primary selection criteria, kind of going back a couple of questions, are safety, environmental sustainability, quality of life, economic competitiveness, state of good repair. Secondary things, projects that address climate change and environmental justice. And then projects should include components that reduce emissions, promote energy efficiency, increase resiliency, and recycle or develop existing infrastructure. Resources should benefit low-income communities, disadvantaged communities, communities underserved by affordable transportation, or overburdened communities. And the program in itself is encouraged to address racial equity in two areas: incorporating planning and adopting policies related to racial equity, reducing barriers to opportunity, and then two, investing in projects either proactively address racial equity and barriers to opportunity, including automobile dependence as a form of barrier, or address prior inequities and barriers to opportunity. So that's the reason we're focusing on bike and ped. Bike and ped connections will provide connections to a lot of different people in the city of Hernando to the basic services that are along the commercial Commerce Street corridor, which includes a lot of retail, big box retail, pharmacy, medical, social services, and then also public library for internet access, and just general computer use, job application, job training, that sort of thing. And then your second question along Elm Street sounds like maybe a cycle track, a two-way cycle track would be a good fit there. That cycle track is basically you combine bike lanes on one side, it's two-way. So it's a two-way bike lane kind of within the existing curbs.
I don't know about bike lanes, but I know people walk up and down Elm Street, and there's trees that grow massive up in the yards. There's also a complaint that people fly up and down Elm just to not have to go through the lights of 51 and the square. So they'll cut through there and then hit Robinson and go hit 51. And they fly up 51, Robinson. So if you had a walking little thing going in the street and it went down 100 yards and then cut across the street with a little small hump, you could kill two birds with one stone. But, just a thought. And with Hernando West, in the future, a lot of people will be walking that way. We would hope, coming to the square, so. I would hope that could be added or looked at on the list, not just.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of in constant contact with Mr. Beanie and the mayor on what all is going to be included, discussing the fee amount and how it could possibly be either reimbursed or used as a match. We've had discussions about the time that city staff and your city engineer would be applied into the grant as soft costs. Those are eligible. We'll be sure and write those in. So we're trying to stretch your part as far as we can, and doing a lot of due diligence to do that.
If businesses are on this pathway as well, can they participate in part of the payment?
They can. I think in our last.
Because it's going to benefit them as well.
Here, the right-of-way donations can count toward your local match based on the appraised value of those.
Is that yours? That was yours.
But Russ, this $5 million grant is to address what you've done here, right?
That's right.
Everything we're talking about now would be in addition to?
No, it's to knock out.
It could be built into the $5 million and just added to this as long as we didn't exceed the $5 million.
Right.
Is that correct?
$5 million is the federal request, and then there's a 20% local match on that.
Right.
And that's the minimum numbers because you're in the Memphis urban area.
Right, so
To do these improvements, is this a $5 million project or is this something?
It's part of that.
Okay.
It's more than $5 million
All right, That's what I
It's a
wanted to make
20-something million, isn't
sure.
it?
So we may have the money to do what Mike's talking about.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of prioritizing over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you
Gotcha.
restrict the projects out of there because what we got listed is more than $5 million. That's basically, and by July, I think we got a July 12th
That's right.
time frame and working on. So when you look at where we're now, we're on what, the 14th, 15th, whatever it is. So we got about 3 or 4 weeks to get everything together, to get this whole total package
It
submitted.
would be hard to.
I'm sure they're gonna take in a bite and everything been said tonight and try to narrow the scope of the project down to fit within the $5 million.
Well, if we didn't have that.
That's right. Our plan is
That was
to stay in
strategic,
constant
I guess.
contact.
Yeah.
Get under contract tonight and get the ground running tomorrow. We'll have a draft application for the July 6th meeting.
I hope it's
And
simple.
then have 6 days to revise, tweak if needed before we submit on the 12th.
So is the main object of this project for walkability or for bicycles? Is the
5 miles, there'll be 5 new miles of multi-use path, which will accommodate light and pedestrian.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Questions from the audience? Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. Jessica. Well, thank you for coming this evening. This is my last meeting along with a few others, and I just want to say a few words here. The mayor and the board have really worked hard these last 4 years. First of all, letting everybody have this, but I think all the new officials do. This is the assessment sheet. The value of our town what our millage rate is based upon to come up with our tax figure. The city of Hernando, I did not put this on there, our millage rate is 40.75. Horn Lake is 50.00. Olive Branch, 38.50. South Haven, 43.73. This is what our millage rate is that we base our taxes on. If you'll see the total in the right-hand column, Hernando has gained 13%. Horn Lake, 17%. Olive Branch, 39% growth in their tax base. South Haven, 19%. So we do have growth. We are making headway. That's one reason our taxes, our revenues have increased since we've been off. That's our real property and personal property. On the next sheet, you will see our property taxes, the sales tax collections you'll see right up in the top corner. July 15, they were $272,451 for the month of July. $272,451. We hadn't made it to July this year, but April of 21, they were $446,987 for the month of April. We have pretty steadily been over 300,000 and hitting into 400,000. So our revenues are getting there. We had a very difficult challenge with the first budget in 2017. We were able to work through that. And now we have a good positive revenue. Here is just a quick reference of a lot of things that we've accomplished in the 5 years. And I don't want to leave anybody out or anything, but it's just a way to reference the minutes if you wanted to. One of the biggest projects that I think we've all worked on and all pretty much had a part of just about every meeting is the Mackinvale Road realignment. That was a very challenging project. And I just want to tell you how many people it involved, how many agencies were involved, and how many years. This vision started under Mayor Ed Gale, Tommy Lewis, District 5 Supervisor. John Caldwell was on the board at that time. It's where it all started. When I came into office, I got a visit from 3 highest transportation officials of this state, Melinda McGrath, Mitch Turner, Mike Taggart. They told me what we needed to do. I looked at them, I said, I think you're fixing to put me to work. So that's what we did. There was a lot of hiccups during this thing. It was a $10 million project. We picked from the Master MDOT list of an engineer, which is Pickering Engineering, in October of 17. We started engineering the road. The funding was not there. Madison Lakes stepped up to the plate, paid additional $125,000 to the city of Hernando to pay Pickering Engineer to design a 5-lane road. And for us to research to find the money for this Mackinvale Road. All the property owners, right-of-way donations from Dion Gerber, Drew Dupree with the Country Club, Lehman Roberts, Madison Moore, DeSoto County Schools, and MDOT, all made their donations at no charge. Except for DeSoto County Schools, they couldn't give it away. I think we gave them $100. We worked hard, diligently. Now we're seeking funding for the road. The city of Hernando had $1 million. The county had $1 million. That was $2 million. We had MPO money for the Bahia Road and the Commerce West Road, $2 million. We had to shuffle that money to the Mackinvale Road. We're still looking for money. Mayor Musselwhite, City of South Haven. Mayor Phillips, City of Olive Branch. Deferred their construction funds to us, the City of Hernando. We worked as a team with other mayors. Robert Foster, the representative, state of Mississippi, he knew we were short of funding. He found $1 million, state of Mississippi. We're getting close to our funding, but we're not there yet. The MPO found a little bit more for us. Now we're looking for contingency. Hernando comes up with another $250,000. The county comes up with another $250,000. Madison Lakes, Lehman Roberts come up with another $250,000. We struggled, but we got there. But it took a lot of people to get there. MDOT worked diligently to expedite this project. It was a priority. DEQ made it a priority. All these stumbling blocks that most people have, we expedited this. Like I said, engineering in October of 2017. Construction contract December of 18. Not many projects move that quick. Almost completion July 21. That's an $8.7 million road, which has an $8 million exit to it. $16 million. With over a $300 million warehouse. Most people think it's just a warehouse, AWG. It's a warehouse. As you look back on your assessment sheet, personal property, it won't even have, it will have a value of the property itself and the building itself. The automation will have a pretty large number of personal property taxes. We feel Jeff Finch's office will comply and really do a good job assessing this building. We should start receiving some revenues 22, full 23. They are exempt, tax exempt. A lot of people don't understand the definition of that. That does not mean 100%. They're deducted about 66%. Did we pay for infrastructure for that? Yes, we did, as this city has many a times. The Shannon Lumber Company, stumbled across one the other day, North American Electric. The city has done this numerous times. This is not the first time. We're very pleased with this. We made a remarkable accomplishment, and I did not do this as mayor. I did this with the support of this board, the majority, which was almost all of them, all the times. We don't always agree, but we have done really good. I think we have, with our revenues where they are, our sales tax, assessments, and I think they'll keep it climbing. That seems like that was the main projects, but public service was the main one. We got like 7 departments, they're all important. Our revenues is what we're working on and we're getting there. So I want to thank you, the audience, the citizens of Hernando, for the 4 years I was here. Had its ups and downs. Overall, I enjoyed it and I'm pleased at what we've accomplished. But like I said, it wasn't just me, it was this board. So I do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. And we'd like to make these documents a part of the minutes too, please. Item 34, executive session, so we need to go into closed session. Thank y'all very much. Is that okay? I just wanted to know if anything obviously we forgot about the engineering to it.